friends. So here's the story I like to tell. As a freshman in high school, and you know how you have to run the mile in gym class, and you run it once in the fall and once in the spring. I'm slow, so my fall mile time was pretty miserable, and in the spring semester, I was just desperate not to be last. I was really determined. So I gave it everything that I had, and as soon as I crossed the finish line, my gym teacher runs onto the track and says, "Taylor, you have improved." So naturally, I joined the track team. I got assigned to run hurdles, and I practiced for hours and hours every single day until I actually was improving. I was getting faster until a week before the first track meet. I go to practice, I stretch, I warm up, I run up to my first hurdle and stop. Suddenly, I'm terrified of clipping it and falling on my face. Like I can't get my body to lift up off the ground. I just run up and stop, run up and stop. And I figure it'll be better by the next practice, but it wasn't. In fact, I kept just running and stopping all week. My coach actually asked me if she should pull me from the race. I'd done it so many times before that I knew that I could do it if I could just get out of my head. So race day comes, I'm in the starting block, the gun goes off, I run up to the first hurdle and sail over it. And the next one, and the next one, until halfway through the race, I look up just ecstatic that I'm clearing these hurdles to see that everybody else in the race has already crossed the finish line. Womp. That story, by the way, is the answer to the question, tell me about a time that you failed. Not like in a job interview. People just seem to be really interested in those kind of stories lately. Let's talk about failure. Let's take away its power. Like, have you ever watched a TED Talk? We love to hear about white guy tech CEOs who dropped out of college, and white guy tech CEOs who lost a bunch of money on one project and then came back to be super successful, and white guy tech CEOs who, you get the pattern. I think this idea is particularly prevalent in startup culture, where the whole idea of move fast and break things has become really kind of glorified as the only kind of way to get better and succeed. Sure, learning from failure is good and important. It teaches us to be better professionals and creators and people. Some people manage to pick up from their failures and really bounce back from it, and some people manage to kind of fail their way up to the next level based on assumed learning, whether it happened or not. But I want to talk about the people who aren't so lucky. You might be familiar with this concept from the movie industry. A studio exec will say, films led by women or people of color just don't make us money. And if we take a chance and make one and it's not the biggest hit we've ever had, well, we're not gonna make another one for a long time. Meanwhile, we get like an endless parade of shitty superheroes careening into infinity. But it's not just movies. This phenomenon exists in every kind of job, including the presidency. Some people are able to fail their way forward into greatness, but other people, when you look a certain way, sometimes failure means you don't get a second chance. And not just you, it might mean that people with power or budgets or platforms won't take a chance on anybody like you. There's enormous pressure on your shoulders not to fail. You already have the expectation that you have to be twice as good to get half as far, and that's not exactly congruent with the whole idea of like, move fast and break things, buddy, let's just debrief this and get back out there. And I don't think it's entirely a coincidence that this idea is prevalent in the same types of industries that say, like, we would hire more diversity, but we just can't find anybody qualified. Well, what assumptions go into your definition of qualified? Are you celebrating the failure of one kind of person, but taking it as a sign of like deep personal inadequacy in another? If your company or your startup or even your side projects claim that failure is part of making your work better, if you value and even pursue failure as a way to learn, then you damn well better also value and pursue diverse voices and input from those people that these cultures of positive failure tend to leave out the most. And if you yourself have succeeded on the heels of failure, be grateful for that privilege and acknowledge all of the people that helped you bounce back. I think it's good to learn from when you fail and be open and self-aware and tell those stories to chase away that fear that we all have of coming up short. But when we tell these stories, let's start including the times we've failed to clear our mental and cultural hurdles in the way of being inclusive. Let's talk about the times that we've fallen behind in doing the right thing, because that's how we can learn to do better and succeed. In the comments, tell me how you feel about failure. If you like this video, you can subscribe. I make videos every Sunday. You can also find me anywhere on the internet pretty much at It's Radish Time, and I will see you next week. Bye!